Yo, I'm on tour. Come see me on the road. This weekend, I'm in Sunnyvale, California, which is basically like the San Jose area. I'm doing a show for 4 nights straight. One Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm out here. Come see me. And then I'm going to New York City, Gotham Comedy Club, September 26th. The 7:30 show I had is about to sell out, so we added another one at 9:45. So now there's 2 shows in New York City, Thursday night, September 26th. And then I'm going to Stamford, Connecticut at New York Comedy Club, September 27th. And then Atlanta, Georgia, October 3rd. Those are the big ones I want to push. There's a bunch more I have on there. Richmond, Virginia Beach, Philly, Denver, Nashville, Phoenix. I mean, there's so many cool cities. Go to the description on the audio or the video to get your tickets. And I'm talking like I'm very Italian with my hands. I don't know why. I think I'm just because I'm excited to talk about the shows. I'm excited to do a podcast. It's Willie B. I'm back. Let's do a podcast. Go. Yes, we are back. You thought we may not be, but guess what? We're back again. Episode number 54. Does that mean anything to you? I don't know what it means to me. I'm losing track of what the numbers are. I have to look every single time. And is it kind of cringy that I call myself Willie B? To some, absolutely. But I'm saying it to be jokey, you know? I'm not going to actually say that in a serious way. People ask me like, oh, what nicknames do you have? And I was like, I don't know. I call myself Willie B as a joke. And people kind of are like, cool, man. I'm like, no, it's silly. I'm just silly. Okay? Feeling good. It's we had a crazy heat wave in LA for the last, like, no joke, week straight. It's been about 112 degrees every single day, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm a big exaggerator, but I ain't exaggerating about this. It was 112 for the whole week. It was so hot that my air conditioning turned off. It overheated. Air conditioner was like, sorry, bro, it's too hot. You're on your own. Good luck. Hope you got a fan. It's been very uncomfortable because I don't live in Phoenix, right? I didn't move to LA to be in Phoenix, so it needs to be nicer. And what's even crazier is that now, a day later, it's 75 and breezy. What is happening? I don't know. I'm just happy it's nice out. Got to do a little weather update. No one wants it, but I'm giving it. I know the plant for my video people is a little brown. It's not looking good. You know why? Probably because it's been a goddamn billion degrees out, and the sunlight is penetrating the beautiful skin of my plants and messing them up, man. And I'm gone a bunch. So it's like the watering isn't the best. Get off my ass. I'm doing the best I can, okay? I also rescued this plant from the garbage as more pieces fall off. So even I'm a hero, dude. Dude, I had my... Well, I'm going to talk about the San Diego shows momentarily. If you came to them, thank you. They were very fun. And I also did want to circle back to adding a show in New York. That's pretty crazy. You know, when I got the offer to do New York at Gotham, it was like a dream come true. And I knew the club capacity was 290. And last time I was in New York, I did 2 shows that sat 110. And then we added another show that sat 160. So it was like, I ended up selling about 400 tickets. And so with a club that seats 290, I was like, oh, I not only do I hope to sell it out, I hope to add another show. And it was getting to the point now where we're almost about 2 weeks away. And I was like, I don't know if, you know, how does this going to, I don't know what amount of tickets I'll need to have left for them to want to add a show. And I also felt kind of uncomfortable about me being like, hey, should we add a show? But sure enough, my agent hit me up yesterday, and I'm recording this on the day I'm releasing it Wednesday, basically being like, hey, do you want to add another show? And it was so awesome because I was like, it's so cool that it didn't come from me. It was the industry, the club, and my agent to be like, yo, you're in demand. We need more tickets available. Do you know how sick that feels? That's all I've wanted, right? So I think to be able to accomplish that goal feels really good, and it's just so cool. And I don't know, man, a lot of these pods I'm realizing it's turning into a lot of just me being grateful for what I have, but I'd much rather do a lot of that. I'd rather have too much gratitude than come up here complaining about shit and be bummed about stuff. So, you know, it's the gratitude pod. So I can't wait for that, man. I tell you what, New York hotels couldn't tell you how expensive they are. I'll tell you how much it was, actually, because it's bullshit. Excuse me. It was, dude, I always bring an opener, and I usually will have, if we do a hotel, it'll be 2 rooms. We ain't bunking up, all right? We're not 14. We're adult men, right? Or I'll do an Airbnb because it's way more cost effective than having 2 hotel rooms. In New York, everything is $1 million. Dude, one hotel room, couldn't find one less than $600. $600. Couldn't find one less. Literally couldn't. Unless I want to stay in New Jersey, which I don't really want to do. Or stay in a real shit box or like a hostel with bunk beds. And come on, man. Come on. It's first class Willie B. I'm not bunking up, okay? So I got a hotel room with 2 beds with my best pal Nolan, and we're going to be sharing a hotel room in New York for 2 nights, and I spent $1,000 for one hotel room for 2 nights. Originally, when I had New York planned, I was going to take Kaylee and make it a romantic New York weekend, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, so if I get a nice hotel, that's going to be $2,500, $3,000, and then nice dinners, there's another, I don't know, $700. It's like, let's say I spend $3,000 for everything. Let's just be conservative. If I spent that, if we went to Vancouver and I spent $3,000, we'd be Drake's sidekicks. That's how baller we'd be in Vancouver. But in New York, I'm just a guy spending $3,000 to be like a guy who wears H&M. You know what I mean? It's like, why don't come to this one? Until I'm selling out Gramercy for multiple shows, don't come to this one. Let's have a baller-ass time in like a Vancouver. And is Vancouver booked yet? No, but it will be. So that's my point, is that New York is too expensive. Figure that out. New York. Figure it out, New York. Sorry, I didn't mean to kill that so hard. Dude, I had my most viral TikTok clip of all time. How cool is that? Out of nowhere. Posted a clip, had high hopes for it, and it's at 5 million views in a day and a half on TikTok. Excuse me, that's not the right. It's been a week. I'm sorry, it's been a week. 5 million views in a week, and it's on TikTok. That's the highest numbers I've ever gotten, and it's awesome. It's just nice when you put out something that you're like, I think this is good, and then the internet goes, we agree, right? And it was also one of those clips that I was a little bit nervous to post because I did, and I don't know if you saw it. If you want to go on my Instagram and watch it, it's the one that says Ghosted. And it was one of those clips where I was like, it was like involving a gay joke, and I did like the gay accent voice as a joke, and it like killed, but I didn't want to just have that there without. Okay, let me take it back for a second. In the show, I talked about this in the Chicago podcast. I basically was like, did this joke, and then I asked the crowd, I asked the gay dudes who were there, was like, oh, was that offensive? And they were like, no. And then that's when I got that really nice message that I read on the pod about how they really appreciated that was so respectful. And so when I posted the clip, I didn't want to not include that part where I asked the people, was that disrespectful? Because I didn't want to also like, do the gay voice and then end the clip, and then all of a sudden the comments, I could get lit up in the comments, and then I have to defend myself being like, no, actually at the show I asked the audience and they said it was okay. It's like, what a mess. So I just included the part at the end, basically me asking them, was that offensive? Was that okay? So to me, creatively, it was a bit of a risk because I was like, well, that's not really that funny. It's more just like, I don't know, showing the humanity of who I am, and show, more importantly, that I'm mindful about the jokes I'm making. I'm not just some asshole picking on minorities. I'm very much like, I want to show the real me about how I am at my shows. But I knew it was a bit of a risk. And sure enough, it paid off in every possible way because the comments were like so nice and so like saw exactly what I was trying to do. They were like, oh, wow, he's such an ally. That's so awesome that he asked. It's so respectful. Because you don't see a lot of that in comedy. Oftentimes it's like, comedian roasts bald guy in front row with stupid shirt. It's like, that's what, and I don't want to do that. People are like, come to my city and roast me. I'm like, I'll come, but I'm not going to roast you. So it was really cool to have that decision pay off and to have it seen by so many people. It just made me feel really good about the decision I made. Let's talk about San Diego. I did American Comedy Company, which is actually the shirt. I'm wearing their merch because I like the shirt all weekend, man. And do the background of the booking is my top choice. Well, okay, yeah. My top choice for San Diego is I want to do the Comedy Store in La Jolla. That was my top choice because that is my like top 3 favorite rooms in the country. Maybe my favorite. It's up there with like, I absolutely love that room. Couldn't get an offer. I don't even think I could get a one-night offer. Just couldn't get anything. And then the next options were this place called Mic Drop, which used to be the Comedy Palace, which was one of my favorite rooms. So I was stoked about a Mic Drop opportunity, as well as American Comedy Company was in there as well. Mic Drop offered me a one-nighter, and American Comedy Company gave me a weekend. So done and done. Case closed, taking the weekend. And it was so cool to be able to not only do a weekend at such a great club. I mean, last time I was there, I opened for Blaustein, who sold out all the shows, and it was a big deal. And the fact that I got to do a weekend myself was like really special. And it was also just so nice, dude, to be able to just drive to a road gig. It was so weird. I packed and just put everything in my car. Like, dude, I brought snacks for the weekend. I brought snacks and LaCroix, like, just to put in the hotel because I'm driving. There's such a great bit by this comedian, Michael Costa, who basically says, like, if we're driving, bring it. If you're flying, you have to be strategic, but if you're driving, like, who cares? Bring it. A blender? Bring it. Your tax returns? Bring them. It's such a good bit. Try to look it up if you can find that bit. But I always think of that when I'm like, dude, we're driving. Bring it. Whatever. I brought so many shoes. And they had valet at the hotel. And, dude, the hotel, I get there, and the hotel is across the street from the club. It's so close that out my window on the top floor, shout out, I can see the front door of the club with the marquee. I'm just looking at my venue from the top floor. It was hilarious. So I gave my car to valet because, what's up? Gave my car to valet and basically like, see you in 3 days. Not going to need this. Dude, they had food in the hotel, like an actual restaurant in the hotel. So I ate every single meal there. I'm big on just ease. The fact that I can just walk downstairs, get a meal, the best. And I tell you what, man, it was, I want to give a little history lesson of Mr. B. I've been going to San Diego to do shows for years, like years. I went to San Diego so much coming up that my friends, Jason and Brent, who I used to do a podcast with, they would make fun of me. And they would act like that's where I live. And every time I went to San Diego, they'd be like, oh, you're going home. Like, that's how much I was in San Diego. And the reason I went was because this was, I was 3, 4, 5 years into comedy, and I couldn't get that much stage time in LA. A lot of it was open mics, and the open mics in LA were just, it was like, dude, you go up in front of 9 comedians. That's the audience. And so there's this like amazing scene in San Diego they have so many clubs. They're all right near each other. There's so many independent shows, and the crowds are awesome, right? And so really the only downside is just the drive. It's to get there is kind of a pain in the ass. If you leave at the wrong time, it will take you 4 hours to drive there. No traffic, an hour and 50 minutes if you're driving 80. And I would make that sacrifice. I would go like minimum once a month and just do a bunch of shows. I would do I remember one time I think I did like 9 spots in like 2 days. Because as an out-of-towner in LA, they would almost welcome me on their shows more because I'm like a bit of a commodity. It's like, oh, he's not just the guy we see all the time. And so I just built up this relationship with this comedy scene and was there so much. And to the point of like, I walked by American Comedy Company, this club. I walked by that marquee, 50 times over the last few years, constantly. And because of such a history I have with this place, it was like when I saw my name on the marquee, it was amazing. It was so surreal because I was like, wow, like I fucking did it. And I've had those moments. I've talked about them. I've been in this chair being like, wow, I did it. And this was another one of those moments where it was just like, wow, I can't believe I'm on the marquee. And for a weekend of shows, I'm on the marquee. It was really like an underratedly special feeling. I don't think people know about how much ties I have to San Diego. It's only people that used to listen to the Lion's Den really knew that. But it was a really special moment, and something that I'm still kind of wrapping my head around is that's like, oh, that's just who I am now. I'm the guy who's on the marquee of the clubs now all the time. and the ones that I idolized. It's so sick. So that was a really special moment. And the fact that I could see it from my room was even more powerful because I felt like fucking Batman up there, just looking over the city with my name in lights, being like, yeah, the city is my city. They need me. But then I get on stage and I'm like, poopy, poopy, pee, 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 penis, poo, poo, poo. It's like, okay, well, you're not Batman. You're a fucking clown. The ticket sales for the shows were pretty good. I was not blown away by them, but they were pretty good. It's funny that I always feel like San Diego would be a place that I would just rip through ticket sales, but I didn't. I don't have a huge demand there. When you look at my email list compared to other cities, it's kind of like night and day compared to like a New York, a Boston, a Chicago. I mean, fucking dude, the East Coast reps for your boy. I feel it. Like the East Coast, like Philly, Boston, Pittsburgh, even. Like I'm a Midwest for sure, Chicago, Columbus, places like that. I feel like people really fuck with me there. San Diego was like good, but I mean, dude, I sold just as many tickets as I did in Providence. Weird, right? The setup of the club is fantastic. It's really exactly how it should be. It's low ceilings. It's essentially a basement. You walk in the club and you go downstairs 2 flights of stairs. So you're in a basement with low ceilings, seats 200, which is, if you've been following the podcast, you know that's fire. The setup's perfect. So I was stoked. And Friday early show, I think we had 125 in there, and the late show was 90, something like that. First show I felt a little bit wonky. I think what it was, I have this chunk of material I do in my act where it's about 10, 15 minutes where I've been doing it for a while, and this is kind of the last chunk of time I'll be doing it before I release it as a part of the special. So I'm just doing it for a little bit longer until I retire it, but you have to like remind yourself to keep it fresh, be excited. They've never heard it, because I felt myself not selling it as hard. And I already think my new material is better than some of my older material. And so I have to like sell it extra. And I don't want to do that new material yet because I want to save it for when I come back, because I know I won't do a bunch of those jokes again in San Diego specifically. So I'm like, this is the last hurrah for these jokes. Let me just keep doing them. But I need to like sell it. I'm getting a little bit going through the motions. So I learned that on the first show. I said, I gotta really sell these jokes. And but in that first show, I did feel a little bit wonky, but I had 2 like big crowd work moments. So I was like, okay, cool. I got like 2 clips out of just that show alone. So that was really, I was really stoked on that. That was with the Red Bull, the woman who came alone and drank the 2 Red Bulls. That was from that show. The clip I'm going to post tomorrow about a couple meeting on the beach. That was from the first show. So it was just like, I know I got 2 bangers. So I was like, cool, great. And I already had another show, 30 minutes after. And late show was a hard crowd. Friday late. Again, you've been listening to the pod, you know the deal. It's a tough crowd. Friday late's always tough. And they were hard. And I got up there and was just loose and had a ton of fun and liked my set better. I freshened up the older material. I really sold it. I felt it. It felt funnier. I was just locked in, and it was a really fun show. And it was a good first night because I felt like now I was warmed up. I was like, okay, cool. I got the lay of the land. I met the staff. I know kind of what the stage feels like. I know how I need to open. Couldn't figure out many opening riffs. When I go to a city, I try to have some sort of observation or something about the show or the town, something. And like, dude, I had like nothing for San Diego. I really didn't have like anything for that market. I just couldn't figure out any observations. It's a big military town, but like that didn't feel funny. I always feel like San Diego is like bros, like San Diego, but like didn't get that vibe there. I don't know, man. We could have been in Denver for all I know. Just couldn't think of riffs. But I was still really excited for Saturday because when I got the ticket counts on Friday, the Saturday show was really close to selling out. And sure enough, by about 1 p.m., the show was sold out. Saturday early, sold out. So happy. Because I think if I walked away with because I kind of hoped that I'd sell out one of them at least with the 200 capacity and, with my increased demand and following. I was like, I got to sell out one of these. Sure enough, I did. It was so awesome, man. That's never not cool. To see on the website that it's sold out, it's never not cool. And think of it like this. I was so excited because now it's like the last night was like 120, and that ripped 120 people. And now we're going to add 80 more to that? We're going to blow the lights out. I'm going to injure myself because it's going to be so much crushing. And it was a great day. Had so much free time, by the way, which is so weird. I'm so used to, and a lot of this tour, the rest of the year, I'm going to be in East Coast time. That I know how to do. It's like you wake up at 12, you get coffee, you get food, you do some editing, time to go to the show. But San Diego, I'm up at a normal human time, like 9 or 10, and I got like 4 hours of free time, and it's weird. Okay, I'll work out. There's an hour. I'll walk around. There's 30 minutes. It's too hot. Let me do some editing. There's an hour. I'm like, what do I do? I almost like being on the East Coast, so I have less free time. Had 2 coffees. Never have 2 coffees during the day. Anyways, got to the show, sold out, so excited, and you really felt it, man. The crowd was fantastic. You felt the energy. Unfortunately, at the beginning, I had to kind of shut up a heckler guy in the front. I wasn't a heckler. I'm using that as a very blanket term. It was more just a guy who was like yelling shit out. And I didn't do it in a good way. I was kind of just like, hey, you're still yelling out, huh? Like, got right to being annoyed, and I fucked the energy up, and I kind of lost the room, and I didn't lose the room, but I messed up the energy, and I had to like work my way back in, and I have to find a better way to shut someone up. And it's for some reason hard for me, and I think I just need to commit the time to it. It's good that I'm talking about this so I can be accountable for it, because I was just, I didn't have like a funny little comeback line. I just was like, shut up. Just no patience at all. So I got to get better about that. And the other thing I need to get better at is I had this moment, which I've never really felt before, where I was doing, kind of going in and out of crowd work the whole show. And I hit this point where I was like, hit this lull in crowd work, which can happen. If you come to a show, there's going to be some ups and downs, some lulls. It's like with crowd work, you see the highlight reels, but there's still some moments that I need to like get the energy back up. We're getting boring. And I wanted to pivot to this joke, but I was like, there was no way to transition it at all. And I just kind of just clunkily got to the joke and started doing it, and I felt like a shithead. I did not like how it felt, because I was like, hey man, find a better way to get to this. I'm so good at transitions and working a bit off of somebody saying something, but I was too locked into my set list, and it just wasn't, I didn't do a good job of that. And I'm saying these 2 things up top just because I want to hold myself accountable and want to be better at those things. But the show was still fire, and there were still some really fun moments. But also for some reason on the first show, I was just like gassed. Like the crowd was great. They were giving me everything. I was sweating. I was like, working for it. And dude, but the last like 15 minutes, dude, I was so tired. I was kind of just like powering through it, kind of going through the motions. Luckily, the ending jokes are pretty solid, so I don't have to like, trust me, it's funny. I just was like doing them because I was so tired. It felt like it was the last show of the weekend, but I was just gassed. I had to have them push the late show back. I was like, dude, I need some more time. I can't do another show that quickly. Because with the meet and greet, that's like another half of a show, which I do after every show. I do the meet and greet. So that's, if I'm doing 4 shows, that's like 4 bonus shows also. I've seen some people who do long-ass meet and greets. I remember when I was with Michael, dude, he would do meet and greets for everyone, and it was like 100 people. It was like another show. So no one really thinks about that the energy that takes. So by the time I got to the Saturday late show, I was like, bro, I need some time. So I had them push the show back 10 or 15 minutes. Luckily, Nolan was there, who's just the best, as he always is. And he opened, so I had some more time there. But it was like, dude, it took a toll on your boy. And I was like, how the fuck am I going to do another show? I'm so tired. But I did it. And sure enough, Saturday late, I think was my favorite show of the weekend. I don't know what's changed, but I used to dread doing late shows. But the late shows have been so much fun lately, and they've been more fun than their early shows. And I don't know why. I don't know what's changed with culture. And I've noticed this third time I'm bringing up Michael. When I was on tour with him, his late shows are more fun too. So I'm not sure if it's this like, I don't know if people are just changing as a culture. Maybe just I'm experiencing more headlining and this has just always been this way. I don't know, man. Because again, there's still like a lot less people there. Saturday Late Show compared to 200 had, I think, 120 people. Or even 100. It was something like that. And it was so fun. Also, I think another reason why I'm better on the late shows is, dude, I'm so warmed up at that point. I'm loose. I'm warmed up. This is not the right term. I was going to say I almost give a fuck less. That's not what I mean. I mean with the early shows when it's packed, I feel like sometimes I'm like being too much of a showman. And then the late show, I'm kind of like, I'm just going to mess around and be silly and have fun. And I've said this before of like, I need to translate that same energy into the packed shows. I've talked about this when I perform at this place, Comedy and Magic, where you'll do the small room in front of like 60 people, and then you'll do the sold-out 300-seat main room. And there's times where I'll have better sets in front of 80, 50 people. And I think it's because I'm just feel like lower stakes. I feel more relaxed. It's like, I don't know what it is, and I can't figure out. Well, I can figure it out. I just need to like think about it more of like, how do I maintain that same energy to, I don't know, to when it's not packed? Because your boy was up there ripping Saturday Late Show. Like, I don't know. I was just in the pocket. I can't wait to post this clip next week, dude. I met this really, really big buff guy. His name was Bo Doom. That was his name. He was a PE teacher named Bo Doom. It was so funny. I was like, what a gift. And that's all I'll say, but it was just so fun. And I told the crowd that it was my favorite show of the weekend, and no one believes me when I say that. I only say that if I believe it, and I will say something. So if I ever say that at a show you come to, I'm like, this is the best show of the weekend, I mean it. Okay? Overall, I feel really good about the shows. I got so many clips. So excited to post them. And I loved the crowds. I have nothing bad to say about them. Everyone was like respectful and excited and nice. It was so positive. I sold about 460 tickets, 470, something like that, which my goal was 500. Didn't hit it. There were some comps, which I didn't know until the end, meaning they gave out some free tickets. Didn't know about that until the end, which is okay. I don't mind the comps. I just, I think for my own goal setting, I wish I knew ahead of time, because I thought I hit my goals, but it turns out I didn't, which is fine. I've said this before. It's like, if you want to give out some free tickets, that's totally fine. I just want to know ahead of time. That's all. But that club is awesome. It's run super well. And it's one of those places where I'm like, bro, let's just run this back next year. Let's just do it again. I felt that way with like Creek in the Cave at Austin. What was another weekend? Oh, Houston at Riot. I'm like, bro, let's just do this every year and a half. Let's run it back. It's so much fun. I'm very grateful, and I really appreciate people who came out to the shows. I had such a good time, and yeah. So when I go to San Diego for next year, probably next winter, it'll be my third time going there, and so you'll get about a pretty new show with a new set, and some people care, some people don't. I actually saw a message for the first time from someone basically being like, oh, in a really nice way, like, oh, I kind of wish, I noticed there was a lot of the same material from last time. And that's something I'm really self-conscious about. And this is the one time I've gotten this message all year. On the second go-around time, starting in April, of all these places I'm going to for the second time, except like San Antonio, I think, not one person has mentioned that. And I've even brought it up out of coming from a place of insecurity of like, hey, I know you saw some similar jokes, but I hope it was still fun. Or, hey, when I come back, I'll do a different set. And everyone's like, okay, whatever. I will watch the same one again. That's fine. So I think it was just getting that one comment was like, it's like when you're insecure about something and then someone points it out and you're like, oh man, I was already worried about that. Now people notice. It's the same thing. So again, it's one person, but it's still something that affected me. And so I wanted to just talk about it real quick about how, third go around, it's going to be a different set. And I can't wait to put out a special. That's the plan for next year. Early next year. So that's the podcast. That's the San Diego recap. Again, thank you for coming out. I love the town of San Diego. And again, come see me on the road. Sunnyvale this weekend, New York City, 2 shows, and then Stamford, Connecticut, and then Atlanta, Georgia. And dude, I'm locked in. I'm so excited. And please subscribe to the pod, or my channel at least, and hit the thumbs up. That, again, like things that don't affect you at all, and they affect me a lot. So, and leave some comments, man. I want to see some nice comments. If you came to the shows, tell me which show you came to. Say what's up, and that's it. You You guys are the best. Enjoy the rest of the week, and I will check in with you next week. See ya.